Jean-Pierre was a Haitian man who had built his life brick by brick in America. For 40 years, he worked in construction, sometimes double shifts. He saved every dollar he could, and slowly but surely, he achieved what many immigrants only dream of. He bought a house and paid it off. He opened a small grocery shop in his neighborhood. He invested in a few stocks for the long term. Most importantly, he raised 3 children: Marie, Daniel, and Pierre. One evening, sitting at the kitchen table with his old friend Michel, Jean said proudly, "I am not rich, but I have left my children well positioned." Michel nodded. "You've done more than many, Jean. But tell me, do you have your affairs in order?" Jean smiled and pulled out a folder. "Yes, I signed my last will and testament last month. Everything is clear. When I die, my children will inherit the house, the shop, and my stocks." Jean believed he was prepared. He didn't know that trouble still waited. Years later, Jean passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 78. The family was heartbroken, but they also felt comfort knowing their father had prepared a will. At the lawyer's office, they gathered around a large oak table. Jean's children, Marie, Daniel, and Pierre, sat stiffly, waiting. The air was heavy with grief, but also with expectation. Ms. Thompson, the family's lawyer, opened the folder. "Your father left a last will and testament. It divides his house equally among the 3 of you. The grocery shop goes to Marie. The stocks will be shared between Daniel and Pierre." At first, the siblings nodded. Jean had been fair. But then Ms. Thompson added, "However, before anything can be transferred, the estate must go through probate court." Daniel raised his voice. "Why court? Papa already wrote everything down. He said the house was ours." Ms. Thompson explained gently, "A will is not enough. It's simply instructions to the court. The court has to supervise everything, pay debts, validate documents, make sure no one contests the will. That's the probate process." Pierre muttered, "What? This sounds like a trap. Papa thought he was protecting us, but now strangers are involved." Weeks later, they entered the probate courtroom. A judge sat high above, the seal of the state behind him. Lawyers shuffled papers, clerks whispered, and the siblings sat nervously. The judge spoke firmly. "We are here to administer the estate of Jean-Pierre. This court will determine how assets are distributed, as outlined in his will." Daniel whispered to Marie, "Why do we need a judge to approve Papa's wishes? He was clear." Marie sighed. "That's the law. Probate is required." The judge continued, "First, we must identify and value the estate. Then, debts and taxes must be settled. Only after that can distribution occur." Pierre slammed his palm against the bench in frustration. "Papa owned the house outright. Why delay us?" The judge banged his gavel. "Sir, order in the court. This is the law." Months passed. Every hearing brought more paperwork. The grocery shop sat half operational. Customers left. Bills piled up. Marie stood in court one day pleading with the judge, "Your Honor, my father left me the shop to run, but I can't manage it while probate drags on. We're losing business." The judge responded coldly, "The court must ensure all heirs are treated fairly. Until probate is complete, assets are frozen." Meanwhile, lawyers' fees stacked up. Daniel shook his head after one hearing. "We've already spent thousands in fees. For what? Papa thought he was saving us. Instead, the court is draining us." Tension boiled at home. Daniel wanted to sell the shop to pay legal costs. Marie wanted to keep it alive. Pierre argued they should rent the property instead. At dinner one night, voices exploded. Daniel shouted, "This is madness. We're fighting over something that's supposed to be ours already." Marie cried, "Papa wanted me to run the shop. That was his dream for me. You're dishonoring him." Pierre yelled, "Nonsense. Don't talk about honor. If Papa really wanted peace, he would have left a trust, not just a will." But it didn't know knowledge is everything. The room fell silent. The truth hung in the air. Back in the lawyer's office, Ms. Thompson explained, "Your father did what he knew, but if he had created a living trust, you would not be here. With a trust, the house, the shop, the stocks, all could have been transferred directly to you without probate. No court, no judge, no delays." Daniel leaned forward. "So the trust skips probate completely?" Yes, the trust is like a basket. While alive, Jean could have placed his assets in it. Upon his death, the basket would pass smoothly to you. That's the difference. Pierre asked, "And what about a living will? People keep mentioning it." Ms. Thompson smiled. "That's different. A living will is about healthcare decisions, not money. It tells doctors whether to keep you on life support, what treatments you want, if you can't speak for yourself. It avoids family conflict during medical crises." Marie nodded slowly. "So we needed two things: a living trust for the money and a living will for health." "Exactly," said Ms. Thompson. "With only a last will and testament, you only leaving behind a mess for your children." Finally, after nearly a year, the judge gave his ruling. The court has settled the estate of Jean-Pierre. The house, business, and investments are distributed according to his will. But by then, the shop had nearly collapsed. The family had spent thousands in legal fees, and their relationship carried scars from the battles. As they walked out of court, the judge stopped them with one final remark. "I see families like yours every day. Your father worked hard, but a will alone is not enough to protect a legacy. Learn from this. Teach others. A trust would have spared you this pain." After the long year of probate battles, court hearings, and endless delays, Jean's three children, Marie, Daniel, and Pierre, sat together at the old kitchen table where their father had once planned his life. The air was heavy, not just with grief, but with regret. Marie's voice trembled as she looked around the table. "Papa gave us everything he could. He worked day and night so we wouldn't struggle like he did. But because he didn't know, his legacy was tangled in court instead of coming straight to us." Daniel shook his head, frustrated. "It hurts me. We should have been building on what Papa left us. Instead, we wasted months in court, arguing, losing money and losing time. The wealthy don't go through this. They plan better. They pass things on smoothly. That's why their children never start from zero." Pierre leaned forward, his voice strong but emotional. "Papa's last lesson wasn't written in his will. It was written in our pain. He taught us that hard work is not enough. You must protect the fruit of that work. If we don't, our children will repeat the same struggle." The three siblings sat in silence for a moment. Then Marie wiped her tears and said firmly, "We can't change what happened to Papa, but we can change what happens after us. For my children, I will set up a trust. For my health, I will create a living will. I won't let them suffer like we did." Daniel nodded. "Me too. I'll make sure everything I work for flows directly to my kids. No court, no delays. That's how we build wealth that lasts." Pierre raised his glass of water and said softly, almost like a prayer, "To Papa, for the sacrifice he made. And to us, for making sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain. From now on, we will preserve our legacy. We will build generational wealth." They clinked their glasses together, and in that moment, Jean's legacy became more than property, more than a house, more than a business. His true legacy became wisdom, a lesson for his children and for anyone willing to listen. Don't just work for wealth, protect it, plan for it, pass it on smoothly. That is how generations rise. Jean was a hard-working Haitian man. He labored for years, investing wisely, building a small business, paying off his house, and raising three beautiful children. Like many fathers, his greatest dream was to leave behind a legacy, a future where his children would never have to suffer the way he did. Before he passed away, Jean thought he did everything right. He signed a last will and testament. He believed this document alone would guarantee that his family would be safe. But Jean didn't know. A will is not the final answer. What is a last will and testament? A last will and testament is a written plan you leave behind. In it, you decide who will inherit your money, your home, your stocks, even who will take care of your children if they're still young. But here's the truth most people don't know. A will does not give your family immediate access to your assets. It must go through something called probate. What is probate? Probate is the court process that happens after someone dies. Lawyers get involved. Judges get involved. And while your family is grieving, they're also waiting, sometimes months, sometimes years, for the court to release your hard-earned money and property. Probate is slow. Probate is expensive. Probate is public. Anyone can see what you left behind. And too often, probate becomes a battlefield where brothers, sisters, and cousins fight over what's left. That's what happened to Gene's children. His will went into probate. Instead of peace, there was waiting, paperwork, conflict. But there is a better way. It's called a living trust. Imagine putting all of your assets, your house, your bank accounts, your investments, inside a secure basket while you are still alive. That basket is your trust. You control it during your lifetime. And when you pass away, the person you chose, your successor trustee, hands everything directly to your children, without court, without delay, without fighting. A trust avoids probate completely. It saves time, it saves money, and most importantly, it protects your legacy. But there's another type of will that people forget about. The living will. This is not about money, it's about your dignity. A living will tells doctors and family what medical treatment you want if you can no longer speak for yourself. Do you want to be kept on life support? Do you want resuscitation? Do you want pain relief even if it shortens your life? Without this document, families argue, decisions become painful, but with it, your wishes are respected and your loved ones can have peace. Gene's mistake was not in his love. He loved his children deeply. His mistake was in his knowledge. He thought a last will was enough. But because he didn't create a living trust, his children went through probate. Because he didn't leave a living will, his family had to guess about his medical care. The Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." And truly, many families lose wealth, not because they didn't work hard, but because they didn't prepare properly. Final message. If you love your family, don't stop at just writing a will. Create a living trust to protect your wealth. Understand probate so the courts don't take from your children. Write a living will so your voice is heard even in silence. Your life is not just about working hard, it's about making sure your hard work lives on for generations. Don't let what happened to Gene happen to your family. Protect your legacy. Thanks for watching. If you learn anything from the story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you.